Okay, so if you follow the link in the chat, you'll get taken to this Google Colab. Have you guys used Google Colab before?
Every week.
Okay, perfect. So I won't go over that. But essentially, we've got a whole bunch of code here that goes through that entire pipeline for training a neural machine translation system. And a lot of the code is already done for you, but you're going to have to fill in some to-dos. So I've left in some to-dos in the code of stuff that you need to do, just to make sure that you're kind of following along. None of them should be too hard if you have very basic Python programming skills. So it's not anything too specific. You won't have to like program any TensorFlow stuff. I've kind of done that for you. A lot of it is going to be to do with data pre-processing, which is probably one of the biggest steps in neural machine translation. So you'll be doing that, and then I think there's some parts where you have to like go to the TensorFlow docs and instantiate something. But yeah, so you've got a couple of to-dos throughout, and then you kind of just run the code. You'll need to grab data so that you can train your system. We're going to be working on this Kabyle to English translation. So this is a low resource language. We've got a little data set which you can find over here. No, that's the wrong link. Never mind. Where did I link it? Here. Perfect. So this is a website that gives you a whole bunch of parallel data pairs that are kind of like really nice data sets they're used for language learning. So they're kind of like data sets that have realistic sentences as opposed to some of those data sets we mentioned in the earlier lecture, like I guess parliamentary data and stuff that is a little bit biased. So this is just very simple sentences that people would use. You're going to go in here and grab this data set, the cab to English, download it, unzip it, and then upload it to your session runtime. And then once you fill in all of these little to-dos, you should be able to just run the code and train and evaluate your translation system at the end. So a lot of the stuff is done for you, and it shouldn't require too much programming skills. If you are a linguist or you don't have a programming background, I really wouldn't worry too much about that. If you are kind of more technical and you would like to see some of the details, I do have some code in here that I've just like hidden that does a lot of the technical stuff. I can't remember where that is. I have to go and find it. Finding a model. Yeah, so here I hid this because I thought it might be a little bit scary, but you can show it if you are interested. And that's kind of the transformer code, like the TensorFlow code. So if you are, you know a little bit of TensorFlow and you'd like to see how that works, you can go ahead and have a look at that. Or I think the current TensorFlow tutorials for TensorFlow 2, I think they've updated this since, so it might look a little bit similar. It might look a little bit simpler on their website. So if you want a full walkthrough, I would really recommend the TensorFlow tutorial on transformers. But yeah, so hopefully not too difficult. Does anyone have questions about what they're meant to do? All right, so I think doing the to-dos, if you have some technical skills, shouldn't take hopefully too long. I would do a search for them because last year a couple of people like missed one of them and it was giving a really weird error right at the end of the training. So it was kind of annoying. I would do a search for them, make sure that you've got them all done, and then try to train it. The training itself takes me about an hour and a half on a GPU. So if you're not on a GPU, you just go runtime, change runtime to GPU. Otherwise, it's going to take too long. And so this part, the actual training, is probably going to take you about an hour and a half. So that's why I'm recommending, I guess, to start now, maybe use the rest of this session to start working on it so that you can get all the code done, and then you can set aside a bit of time that you have to run this rather than leaving it to the last minute and then not having time to train it. Yeah, so as long as you do all that, I think you kind of just, I forget what you submit. I think Ben might have something that he wants you to submit. It might just be the output of this page, perhaps. And then there's also some suggestions for how to make it better. So obviously, because this is a very low resource task, you're probably not going to get translations that look very good. They're probably not going to be completely accurate or really maybe at all accurate translations, but you might get sentences that look like actual English, right? So don't be discouraged if your translations aren't completely accurate. That's completely expected with this much data, but I've included some suggestions for how you might go about improving the quality. So you can do that if you're super interested. But yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do. Any questions?
I'll drop the assessment criteria stuff into Slack after this session. But yeah, it's essentially just uploading some stuff from the colab. And can people choose their own language if they want?
Yeah, I did put a disclaimer in here somewhere that you can pick whichever language you want. Yeah, if you want, you can try this tutorial with other data sets from here, right? This has a specific protocol for how it's representing its information, and I've assumed that it's coming in that way. So it has to be from there. The pre-processing code might need to be a little bit different for some data sets, I guess. So depending on the character system that they're using, my regex there might mess up your language a little bit if you pick one with a very specific character set. So you can give it a go, but disclaimer that you might have to change some of that.